Hey guys, it is Brent. We are live. It is 12:27 on Saturday. So I'm going to pop in for a little while. If you have any questions that you want me to talk about, drop them in the comments and I will take a look at them. I'm also going to answer a few questions that we got in this morning and just talk a little bit. So I'm going to stay live for a little while. So again, questions, drop them in the box. Hope you're having a great weekend wherever you are out there in the world. Got back from Vegas and Dallas, and so trying to acclimatize myself to being back home. You know, when you're used to being on the road all the time, it's fine because you're in it. But whenever you're not, you go back and you try to jump back into that, especially doing multiple towns in 1 week. It was tiring, you know? So anyway, it made me think of, I always tell people, you know, one of the easiest ways to start working on your mind, everything in your life that is wrong, 98% of it is because of your mindset. It's because of your self-image. And that's why no matter what you do with positive thinking, all these different things, you're never going to make positive, lasting change because you haven't changed the programming. You're just putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot. You know, it doesn't work like that. You have to get in. You've got to change that old rusty programming. Now, I say this all the time, and it bears repeating because it's important. During the first 10 years of our lives, so imagine you're a little kid, right? Inside your head, there's a tape recorder, and it's recording everything around you, everything everyone says, everything everyone does, everything you think and do. That tape records everything for the first 8, 9, 10 years. And then the horrifying thing is, once it stops recording, that tape runs in your head for the rest of your life. That's the tape that runs anytime you start thinking about the past and you drift away from the present, or anytime you go into the future and you worry about something that's probably not going to happen, definitely not the way you think. So whenever you slip out of the now, the current moment, that is when that rusty programming starts to play. So if you heard things like you're not smart enough, you're not good enough, money's only for bad people, you're too fat, too thin, whatever. Those are the things that control your thought patterns now. It's subconscious. You have no control unless you can get in and change the programming. So everything we talk about here is to do that. Tips, techniques, tricks, mind hacks, whatever you want to call it. Things I've used for years and years and things my clients have used to get in there and change the programming. Because until you do, your self-image will stay the same. And if it does, you'll never make changes. That's why, you know, weight loss doesn't usually work. And I'm a great example of that. I have gained and lost so much weight in my life because of the self-image. If you think of yourself as a fat person, if you think of yourself as a dumb person. When I was a kid, I hated math. So I just I hated math. I couldn't do math. But that wasn't true. That was just a thought first. Then it became a thought pattern because I started thinking it over and over again. And then the terrifying thing is that thought pattern became a belief. And once that happens, it is so difficult to change because you spend your life trying to reaffirm that belief. So I spent all my time proving back then that I was no good at math. I could show you the test, right? That's proof I'm no good at math. And you strive to make that true. And you do that subconsciously. So getting in there to change your programming is mission critical. It's the only way that anything else will work. Positive thinking is great, but it's great as a spoke in the wheel after you've already started. It's not going to work as the only thing you do, you know? So one of the things I always tell people, the easiest way to start, Michael Singer always says, is traffic. When you're driving in traffic, and the person in front of you is driving too slow, the person in front of you is doing something you don't like, whatever, the person behind you is on your butt. This is the easiest thing to do, is to let that crap go. So you go for the low-hanging fruit first, right? Think about it. You're driving in your car. Somebody in front of you is driving slow. You're back there yelling, mad, screaming. You're arguing with this guy. He has no idea what's going on. And in your head, you're arguing back and forth. You're pissed. Let that shit go. You're in your head thinking about, the fight you're going to have with your wife when you get home. You're doing her part and your part. All this mental crap that means nothing. And our mind does that. It's like I always say it's like a bitchy roommate up there. You have somebody living in your head rent free with you, constantly giving you negative advice and giving you, you can't do this, you can't do that. That is what your mind will do if it goes unchecked. If you can't get in there and control it, your mind will control you. And that's the truth. So one of the tricks that I always tell people, and I did this last week, is you, in order to act as if you're the person you want to be, because that is really what's going on. Like Neville Goddard says, and it's the truth. If you want to become a certain person, you have to begin acting like that person would act. Everything starts to change to make that happen because the self-confidence happens. The belief happens. Belief is mission critical. So one of the easiest ways to start traffic, it's also good to start talking to people. You're out. Are you one of those people, you go to the grocery store and you don't talk to anyone? You go to pick up your dry cleaning. You go to the airport. You spend looking down. You don't make eye contact. There is a whole world out there if you would just look at other people. And they're so used to nobody looking at them. You go to a store and the person at the register isn't looking at you. You're not looking at them. And now you're checking your own self out, bagging your own grocery. I mean, it's so impersonal, and that connection is lacking. So what I always tell people is do it out of town first. If you have a business trip coming up or a vacation, if you're too nervous to start where you live, start it on your vacation. Start it out of town where no one knows you, and just be a different person. Whatever you do at home that you don't like, if you don't talk to people, talk to them. Whatever it is that you're trying to change, do it when you're out of town and make that like a different persona, like you're a superhero. It's your alter ego. Because what starts to happen is that repetition will start to change the pattern. You can get in there and you can put a stop, not a stop. You can kind of put a break in the tape. And if you can do that, you can start changing the programming. So act as if is important. And it's not fake it till you make it, because a lot of people say that, and that's bullshit, because it's just cosmetic. You're pretending to be rich, right? Until you get rich, but that's not what it is, because you know that you're not. So there's no belief. Acting as if means you believe it, because if you believe it, it becomes true for you. And everyone says that. It's the most profound advice because it's true. Your mind can't tell the difference between doing something or thinking about doing something. Think about that. In your mind, everything is exactly the same. All the neurons fire the same, everything, by thinking about running a race or actually running the race. So if you know that and you can get in there, you can change those belief patterns. So acting as if, out of town, great way to start. Start becoming the person you want to be, and do it where people don't know you if you're nervous about doing it at home. Once you start building that self-confidence, it will get easier and easier. But happiness isn't a destination. It's not a place that you're going to get to when you get the new sports car, when you get the husband or the wife or the job or the whatever. Because when you're doing that, happiness is constantly eluding you. It's one step away from you for the rest of your life, because you're always chasing something in order to get what you think will make you happy. When actually happiness is an inside job. You grant it to yourself first, and everything changes. When they talk about the law of attraction, they always say, you attract, it's not what you think about. You attract what you feel. You attract what you are. And that's really how it works. It's not some kind of magic secret. The idea of belief and self-confidence creates a reality inside. And once the belief becomes real, you're able to live that. So going out of town and doing it, if you want to start doing it that way, is a great tip. Again, we are live. It is 12:36. If you have any questions or comments, drop them into the comment box over there. Also, another thing I talked about the other day, and I want to touch on, is the idea of an anchor image, because that's a great technique that I have used with my clients. I use it myself, and people always say that this is one of the best things that they've done. And it's very easy to do, but creating an anchor image, you're creating an image in your mind that you can go to whenever, you're starting to think negative, whenever something happens that's not, like you want it to be. You have an anchor image that you can switch to in your mind. Now, the trick is, the way this works is the feeling, and everything that has to do with law of attraction, law of abundance, anything like that has to do with the idea that you are feeling it. The feeling is what does it, not the wishing, because then it's I don't have it and I want it. It needs to be I already have it and things are good. And you have to believe that. You have to just feel that way. So an anchor image is a great thing to use. So for instance, if you wanted to be wealthy, okay, maybe you imagine yourself sitting in a like Scrooge McDuck in a bank vault full of money. You're throwing $100 bills in the air. You're saying, I never have to work again. I can take care of my family. That's your anchor image, right? But you have to get some feeling attached to it, because just going to an image in your mind, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. Most of those are just transient, nothing. But thoughts with feeling are much stronger. That's why most of the time we're thinking negative. So our negative feelings are creating our life. Think about it. So thinking positive and thinking as if you're already that person, things start to happen. So going out of town, acting as if, we talked about that. The anchor image. So you have to get some feeling attached to it. So a great way to do that is you go in your memory bank, and that's okay. When you're using your memory, you're going into the past for some kind of study, for something that's going to help you, that's fine. But when you're living in the past and you're worried about what you could have done, what you should have done, why this didn't happen, if only this happened, if I had done this, that, or the other, that is wasted time. Living in the past, you can't progress in life because you're stuck. And it has just as much to do with fear of the future, because a lot of people are terrified of what's coming, and they project all of these things that they're terrified about. The question is, how do you feel right now? What is happening to you right now? Because if everything's okay right now, in this moment, you're fine. Are you feeling okay? No pain, right? I don't care what you're worried about tomorrow, next week, next month. Right now, you're fine. And so by being able to control your mind, you're able to literally flip that switch and let that stuff go. You put it away, it goes. And it's not one of those things where you're stuffing it inside and then finally you just blow up. You're able to let it go. Emotions, thoughts, those kind of things are meant to be transient. You break up with somebody, you have to go through the breakup. Otherwise, every time you see that person, you're going to get the same feeling. That's the idea of your brain not knowing the difference between doing it or thinking about doing it. You could have broke up with your boyfriend 10 years ago, and every time you see him, the same feelings, all that energy fills up inside. The stomach knots up. You start to get nervous, right? It could even be, I've seen people where they see a car that looks like their boyfriend's car, and every time they see a red pickup truck, they get all those feelings. Emotions are meant to be transient. They go through. But what we do is the emotion comes, the strong emotion. Either we don't want it, so we push it away. And when we do that, we actually push it inside and we hold it in there. That's what willpower is. You're holding something in using your will that needs to go. So either it's something bad or it's a really good thing that we like and we don't want to let it go. So either way, it's not good. Those sort of things are supposed to be worked through, felt, and they go. Thoughts are energy, but you don't want all that negative crap inside you. You're holding on to things from so long ago. So anchor images, you got to get that feeling on there. So whatever your image is in your mind, you have to go back to another time and you have to find something that gives you that shuddery feeling. The new car feeling, they say, the first kiss feeling, whatever that is, whatever memory you can conjure up that gives you the feeling, the shuddery feeling, and what it is. Everyone talks about it. Neville Goddard's book, Feeling is the Secret. That is the secret. It is the feeling, because without that, the feeling and the action, it never happens. You don't sit on your sofa and, I'm going to manifest a Ferrari and it just shows up. It doesn't work like that. You put the end in mind, you know what you want, and then you don't hope and pray and wonder and wish and, oh, how's it going to come? If you ordered something from, Amazon, you wouldn't call every day and ask where it was. It would show up, right? So you have to learn to let go of the things that no longer serve you. You have to learn that no matter what, it doesn't make any difference what anyone else, nobody can hurt you unless you let them. Nobody can say anything to you. That's the whole idea of this two worlds thing. Let me check no questions yet, right? Yeah. It's this whole idea that we live in these two worlds. We're in the inner world, which is the world of our thoughts and our ideas and our feelings and our emotions, but we're also in the outer world. So we're in this world, of people and places and things and solid objects. The problem is those worlds are connected. Not the problem, but the truth of the matter is they're connected, which is scary one way, but incredible in the other. Most of the time, here's what happens. Something happens to us in the outer world. Somebody walks up to us and says, oh my God, are you sick? You look like crap. And what happens? Immediately, we take that opinion, whatever, from the outer world, we bring it to our inner world and we start thinking about it and we start repeating it and we start obsessing over that over and over and over again in our mind. So then it starts to become, oh God, maybe what's wrong with maybe and it starts to become that. So you've allowed that to come in. Nobody has that power. You've allowed it to come in. Your boss says, your work's really not good. We're going to let you go. All that horrible feelings rush up. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I have a family I can take care of. All of those feelings. Same token, boss comes in and says, you're doing amazing and incredible. We're going to give you a raise. You get, tons of positive emotion and feeling. But it's important to remember that, how do I say it? Let's go to the anchor image again, because I want to make sure you understand this, because I use it. I use an image of the Santa Monica Pier. I put it in the group the other day because that picture gives me the feeling that I need, that I want. It also gives me the idea it's California, and I'm moving back there. I know that's my end goal. You have to have your end in mind. Most of us have just a general idea of what we want. It's very vague. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to have a great relationship. But we have no destination in mind. It's like getting in a car without a GPS and trying to drive somewhere and not having any idea where you're going. You have to have that destination. And then you got to let it go, because otherwise you're going to kill your manifestation by worrying how it's going to happen and trying to figure out in your mind all the steps it has to take to get you there. You have now completely ruined that situation. You have to embrace it, see it, feel it, let it go. Bring the image in your mind. Anytime you're starting to think negative, anytime you're starting to think defeatist thoughts. Another technique that always works is whatever the negative thought is, go to the opposite immediately. As soon as you recognize it. 80% of this battle is recognizing that you're having a negative thought, because most of us go through our entire lives. We don't realize what's going on up there. So the moment you notice, I'm being negative, you've almost won, because that gives you amazing clarity. It gives you the amazing ability. I named my voice Carl, and I just laugh. Oh, Carl's at it again. And it breaks the moment, and it allows me to put space in there and then get out of it. So you have an escape hatch that way. So you start thinking negative, whatever it is, you go to the polar opposite of that, which would be the positive. Okay. I'm not good enough would be, I'm fantastic. I am great just the way I am. And we're all original. No two people are the same. That's why competition makes no sense. You can't be in competition unless two people are exactly the same. And it's impossible. You'd have to have it's impossible to have the exact same experiences, all the same thoughts, everything. So That's why competition is flawed. And that way you think, okay, there's a pie with 8 slices and I have to get mine before the other slices are gone. That competition is such a huge problem in the world because that's what we've become instead of creation, which is manifesting your own life, worrying about you, your family, what you care about, positive things, creating a positive life. So going to the opposite of a negative is always good. You could blow it out of proportion in your mind. If it becomes, I'm going to get fired, then, you're worried about getting fired. So maybe in your mind, you think, oh God, I'm going to get fired. And then I'm going to get kicked out of my house. Then I'm going to be on the street and then I'm going to be homeless. And you can make that into such a, impossible scenario that it takes the power away from the original worry. There's a lot of ways to combat negative thoughts. The biggest one is knowing that you're having them. Because when you know, it changes it all, because it gives you the ability to react from a space of non-emotional, not attachment. But most people, somebody says something happens, and immediately you react. And that reaction comes out of anger. It comes out of, fear, whatever. But by creating the space, what happens is this thing happens, space. And it will literally seem like slow motion for a second, because you'll have the ability to go, I'm not engaging in this. This is, is this worth my peace? You're having a whole dialogue in what looks like a second, but literally for you, everything slows down. Okay. So there's a lot of things you can try to get control of your mind. So we talked about the traffic. We talked about the anchor image. We talked about acting as if when you're out of town. Those are all amazing things. You can also, when you go to bed at night, you don't go to bed in your bed. In other words, if you want to go to Paris or something, so at night, when you go to bed and you close your eyes, you're not in your bed, you're in a hotel in Paris, and you could smell, the coffee and all of those things. And you go to sleep that way because again, your mind is then, now you're percolating on positive things that you want, things that you're becoming, instead of going to bed at night, worrying about a bunch of stuff. Then you stew on that all night. And then when you wake up, guess what? You're just continuing that. So that's what's on your mind, because it was the last thing on your mind. It was the thing subconsciously that was on your mind all night. I'll tell you, people don't understand how powerful the human mind is. You can give your mind a problem. You can go to sleep and your mind acts like a Google search engine, goes and it also does not just go into your past and your thoughts. The idea is we're connected to a universal consciousness. That's why we're all one. This idea of being separate. We have our own consciousness, and then there is the universal consciousness, the mass consciousness, which is all of us. That's why some singers, you'll see, I just saw, I was watching an old episode of Solid Gold from the 80s, because I used to love that show. And I just love watching, the clothes and all that stuff. And Lionel Richie was saying, I don't know where I get the idea for a song. I will sit down and it just comes into my head. The full song, and the lyrics will come in my head, or maybe the melody, complete melody. And then I'll write the lyrics. But he says, I'm just a vessel. I don't know where it comes from. And a lot of people say that. A lot of writers say that. A lot of painters say that. They have no idea how they do what they do, except something tells them to do it, So it's important to remember you're in control. Your mind does not control you, although it may seem that way. The idea that you can't get in there is bullshit. And it's something you're saying to yourself. I can't sit still in meditation. Bullshit. I couldn't sit still either. There is nobody in this universe that was more fidgety than me. Trust me. I've been in trouble for it my whole life since I was a kid. And the idea that I can sit for 45 minutes, not move, be completely in the zone, to me, if you told me that 10 years ago, it would be an impossibility. That's a miracle of biblical proportions. And guess what? It's not. Because everybody I've worked with, every client that I've worked with in one-on-one coaching, everybody who's been through any of my programs and who doesn't meditate and then starts to, they all say the same thing. I can't do it. It's not possible. It's just not me. It doesn't work for me. But over time, it works for everybody. It's the great equalizer, because when you sit alone, that's what's wrong with us. There's a famous quote, what's wrong with man is that he cannot, is his inability to sit alone, quiet, alone in a room or something, which is true. We're terrified of what's going on up there. But by sitting in meditation, you're connecting to that universal consciousness. You're letting go of the crap that no longer serves you in life. If you're holding on to a grudge with somebody who's dead, with somebody who's been out of your life for 10 years, forgive them, let it go. Not for them, for you, because you're carrying that weight around. They're living a life, if they're still alive, they don't even know what's going on. They don't know that you're, every day silently cursing them. So you let it go and it frees you. It doesn't matter about them. It's for you. You got to learn to give yourself second chances, third chances. If you're one of those people that have people in your life and you give them chance after chance after chance, but you're so hard on yourself, why not give yourself another chance? Give yourself a second, a third, a fourth chance. It's never too late to start. I've had people in their 70s. I have a client now who's retired. You're never too young. You're never too old. That's why I'm excited about Mind Power for Kids, because if you can get in there early enough before they're programmed, imagine what life would be if you know that you can do anything. You can be whatever you want. You can do whatever you want before the world tells you what you can be and they tell you what you can do. And then also on the other end of the spectrum, you've got, retirees and people are retiring earlier and earlier and earlier nowadays. And so some people, it used to be, you would retire and you'd live 5 years or retire. Some people would retire and die because they have nothing to look forward to. So you have to take control a little bit at a time. Work on mind exercises, work on, changing the negatives to positive. Work on keeping a journal and writing down the things you're grateful for. How about try this? Keep a journal near you, a piece of paper, something, and just write down your thoughts. Every time you're near that paper and you just stop, whatever's on your mind, write it down. Read that after a week and see the kind of crap that's going on up there. We just have no idea. It's like, when I used to start a diet and, they'd say, keep a food diary, because you don't realize, oh, I ate a spoon of this and I ate that. And that all adds up too. So, you're taking an overview of what's going on up there, but you're only getting an overview. You're not getting, all of the thoughts. So start writing those things down, get them in your mind, figure out what's going on up there. It's the only way to fix it. All right. So anyway, I'm going to stay for a few more minutes. If there's anyone out there, if you're watching this later, you can drop your questions in the comment box. I'll still see them. Take a look at them. I'm trying to think if there was anything else anyone asked. Hold on. I keep my notes down here. Oh, we talked about this is good because it talks about acting as if. Okay. But somebody asked about passion, because I was talking about, there only being so many keys to making this work with your mind. One of the main keys is passion. And you use that passion to ignite things and to kind of become the goal. So it's living as if. So you power up your manifestation by powering up the passion, because the passion will create the feeling, and the feeling is what matters. It takes the thought from being daydreaming to manifest. You're creating. You're not just, hopelessly, oh, I want to be this, I want that, whatever. So it sounds easy. You want something, you should be able to get excited about it, right? But it's not that idea, because if it was that easy, you would have everything you wanted. If there's something that you want, I'm going to challenge you right now. If there's something that you want badly in your life, if you want to manifest something, if you want to manifest a certain person, you want to manifest a home, a new job, whatever it is, I want you to try this, and I don't want you to give up. Because what happens is people do this for a week, they do it for a week, 2 weeks, and they decide it doesn't work for them, or it doesn't work, or it's BS. And the belief is gone, it's shattered, and they give up. And what happens is those kind of people, they always think the world is against them. This is, oh, I'm the underdog all the time, right? That they're meant to be victims. They're meant to be doormats. It's just not true. If you believe in gravity, you believe in these laws of the universe. But manifesting what you create, it happens the same way. It happens just like gravity. You don't have to know how things work to believe them. Especially gravity. You don't have to understand that that's true. The easiest and quickest way to have things that you want appear quickly is to love it. Love it with all your heart, because that's what it is. Really think about it. Everything positive springs from love of a person, love of something, love of a certain area of your life, whatever it is. You pull it into your world by filling your world with it, but not the idea of wanting it. That's where everybody screws up. It's already having it. It's this idea that's in every self-help book from the beginning of self-help. It goes through Maxwell Maltz in Psycho-Cybernetics. It's all about self-image. It's all about getting in there, living as if, changing that self-image. Passion is mission critical, because what that does, it creates high frequency. Everything is energy. I'm energy, your energy, this desk, the room, everything is energy, vibrating patterns of energy. We all have different frequencies. That's why you go around somebody who's totally negative all the time. Everything seems to happen bad for them. And when you go around them, you have to lower your frequency to get in tune with them. They call it harmonic attunement. So you're with somebody, a super negative person, you're trying to be, positive and transformative and changing your life. So when you go meet that person for lunch, dinner, whatever, you have to lower your vibration to meet theirs, because it's impossible for you to pull them up, because you can only do it yourself. So you must lower your vibration. It becomes extremely dangerous, because when you're dealing in those low vibrations, you're in emotions, anger, fear, lust, you're dealing with all those kind of emotions and things that come with it. And there are the people on that are low frequency people. And usually, if you're one of those people, your group of friends are exactly the same. The high frequency, they're usually together. And it's not just the rich, the successful, the whatever. You see Hollywood actors killing themselves and models committing suicide. So it's obviously not just money and fame. I posted in the group the other day a Jim Carrey quote, and I think people took it wrong, and a lot of people responded to it. But what Jim Carrey is saying is he wishes everybody could be rich and famous, so they would know that's not the answer, because that's what everyone thinks, and they all want to. Oh, if I was just like this actress, my life would be perfect. It's just not true. I've had millions of dollars. I've had not millions of dollars, and yeah, money is great. But you can do the things you want to do, take care of your family, whatever. But it does not create what everyone is searching for, which is I'll be satisfied, I'll be happy, I'll be at peace. Let's imagine you're dealing with a group of friends, right? Who do you want to go out with? Do you want to go out with Debbie Downer, right? Who complains about everything? Or do you want to go out with the person who's full of life and excitement and who is behind your ideas and is encouraging you? Nobody wants to be around that downer vibration. And people don't realize it. They don't see other people not even wanting to be around them. You have to almost, I don't want to say woo, but you have to that's a good woo your desires by putting passion behind them, because passion creates the feeling brings you what you want. Without it, it doesn't work. So it becomes, how much do you want it? If you're just saying, I want to be a millionaire and I want to have this and I want this and I want that, it doesn't work. It's got to be, I know exactly, and I have for years and years and years. It changes when I achieve goals, but I know exactly what I want. I know exactly where I want to be. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what I want to say. I know the message I want to get across. I know what I want. So it becomes much easier to make decisions on what I'm going to do, to take a job, not a show, a speaking engagement, whatever. It has to fit in with what I want. I'm no longer, I'm no longer in it for money, which means I don't need to take everything that comes down the pike. So if it's something I don't agree with, I don't have to do it. But how much do you want it? Because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to get it. If you're not passionate about it, ask yourself, why would it possibly show up in your life? It won't. If you won't work for it or follow the signs, because that's what happens, you start to get these synchronicities, these things, some reason you're being pushed a certain way. Don't fight it, go. Because that is fate. That's the universe. That is how this works. You got to follow the signs. And then once you get it, you got to appreciate the hell out of it. I have upstairs my dream board, and I change it all the time. And when I achieve something that I have on there, I don't take it off. I move it to the top and I add something new to the bottom, because the feeling that you get by looking at a picture that before was just something you dreamed about and you wanted, but now you have, it gives you fuel. It gives you motivation. It gives you that explosion of energy that pushes you forward. Shakespeare said, nothing is unless our thinking makes it so. And it's true, good and bad, love and hate, all of that only exists in the human mind. You're deciding if something is good or bad, if something is, not hot or cold, but, fat or skinny, good for you or not, delicious or tastes like crap. You're creating that in your head. So in order to get what you want, you got to rev up your love for it. You got to supercharge your love. You got to get that feeling of passion. Passion is super high frequency. That is one of the emotions. Passion, love, all of those emotions at the top, confidence. Those things don't exist in the outer world. They only exist in your inner world. Confidence, love, fear, all of those things, you can't go out and buy, give me a pound of fear. It doesn't work like that. Those are all things you can grant or remove from your life, but only you can do it. No person, place, or thing is going to do it for you. Inspiration, ideas, and really divine connection with the universe come when you're in these high frequency situations, when you're not bitching and complaining and blaming other people for where you are in your life. When you're happy, when you're content with what you have, you'll get more. When you're happy with what you have, you get more to be grateful for. I don't care if you're a billionaire, if you have, a one-room apartment. That has to be the first thing, gratitude. High frequencies always send out, great feelings, powerful energy. Laughter is magic. Laughter is amazing. A smile can do so much. I found that out. I used to be such an introverted person, even though I was on stage performing in front of thousands of people. I always felt like I was Johnny Carson, who, was amazing on stage and then was completely antisocial. But I'll tell you what, the world is an amazing place if you believe it is. If you think everyone's nasty and mean and out to get you, that is how your reality is going to be. If everyone is dishonest and money is evil, that is your reality and you're going to live that. So instead, why not decide to think that everything is amazing? And then in the end, people are good and that you'll smile and talk to people. I was blown away I could go through my day before and engage with 5 people, maybe. And now I engage with everyone and I make it a point to look, to say hello, to talk. And it's amazing the people you meet, you think they're not going to, you're afraid at the beginning. What happens if they diss me or they don't want to, who cares? Again, that's them. But if you take that in, you're allowing their poison to enter you. So you always have to remember Phyllis Diller, a great female comedian and a friend of mine, somebody, I had such a lot in common with. She was such a big fan of the magic of believing, but she had in her mind, she had a mental, like a cloak. And she would put that on, and no matter what anyone said, it just never got in. It never made it into her. It bounced off, you know. And creating something mentally sounds so childish and stupid. And oh my God, this is like airy fairy bullshit. Your brain doesn't know that. So in your head, you do that, you know. Hers was feather. I've done like, you know, I was used to think of the invisibility cloak from Harry Potter, you know, in my mind. Whatever it is you have to see, it's only you. And it only matters what you feel, what you want. It doesn't matter what anyone else wants for you, what other people want you to do. You got to send out all day long little bursts of love, little positive bursts. Again, if you're any thought tied to emotion is powerful. And most of the time it's negative emotion. So make it positive. Get thoughts of your anchor image. Anytime you recognize that you're in a high frequency, be grateful for it. Be thankful for it. You know? And don't be one of those people who go, you know, like I'm not lucky. My mom would always say, I'm going to the casino today. I never win anything. That's the worst thing you can say. I hate my life. People say that all the time. Those are affirmations. You're affirming that in your life over and over and over again. I'm so unlucky. I'll never meet anyone. I'm worthless. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Those are affirmations. Those are powerful things. In mind power, you use affirmations to make big changes, visualizations. Well, it's what you're doing now, but you're doing it with all this negative shit that's controlling your life. Now, I'm going to give you a tip. If it's money that you want, don't focus on getting money, because very few people have love for just money, right? Think about it. If a boom, okay, now I'm going to put you on a desert island with that $1 billion. Do you want it? Of course not. You don't want it because it's not the money. It's what you think the money can do, what you think the money can buy, what the money's going to do for your family, whatever. That's what it is. So thinking I want money, you're never going to conjure up passion for that. A big pile of green paper. That's not going to work. You got to think about what you can achieve with that money, what is going to happen to your family. You got to go straight to the love of it. Now, don't think, oh, the love of money, it's, you know, blasphemous, whatever. Love is a creation tool. Love is a feeling. It creates fantastic relationships. It creates bonds. It creates in life. It can create the life you want. You love things into existence. Everything around you, if you're watching this right now, was once an idea. It was once a thought. The chair you're sitting in, the walls, everything was once an idea until it was brought into manifestation. If you dream of going on a world trip, start making moves towards it. That's what I said earlier. Get your passport out. Start looking at hotels online. Maybe get if you don't know the language, maybe buy a book to learn the language. Whatever it is, start getting ready for it. I put a video up the other day from Anthony Hopkins, and it was a great video. He's talking about there was a great drought in this desert, and there was no rain and no water, and the crops were dying, and the cattle was dying. And one day, the shaman came down from the mountain, and they asked him, "Please, what should we do?" And he said, "Well, dig the ditches for the water." And they said, "Are you what? There's no water. There's no rain." And he said, "Dig the ditches, and there'll be rain." Because you see, if you don't believe it's going to happen, if you don't believe that is possible for you, it's never going to happen. Never. Dig the ditches. It's such a powerful thing. If you want something in your life, have you made room for it? Have you gotten rid of some old shit that you need to get rid of? If you were buying a new bed for your house, for your bedroom, You would have to take the old bed out and get rid of it or whatever. You couldn't bring the new bed in, move it into the bedroom with the, your other queen size bed and stack them on top of each other. You have to make room in your life for what you want. And by focusing on what you want, it makes it much harder to focus on what you don't want. And that's what we do. We focus on all the things we don't want. I don't want this to happen. I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to rain on Saturday because I'm going to a football game, and on and on and on. And then what happens is we have now pitted ourselves against the universe because you can't change those things. It's much better to be okay with whatever unfolds. And if it's something that you really can't stand, then you can change it. You don't have to put up with it. You can change it. But the things you have no control over, the rain. I've heard people say, God hates me because it rained today. Seriously. There are people with no arms and legs. I mean, just think about it. When people complain, it's always, it's never as bad as you think it is. So you want to go around the world, maybe start packing a suitcase, putting some things together, buying some little travel-sized toiletries, whatever you can do during your day, your week, to keep that going, keep that creation tool going, cementing that vision in your mind, adding to it. You can do this 10 minutes a day. Just visualize. It's not daydreaming when you're visualizing yourself in the future, because that is the goal that you're striving for. And that's much different than just, I'm daydreaming. I'm driving a Ferrari down the road. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. You're putting your energy into exactly what you want. Go on YouTube and watch some videos about the place you want to go. Whatever it is, just start interacting with the joy of it, the idea, the passion behind it. All of these things will keep the joy and the excitement level up where it needs to be. And don't worry if you, oh God, you have a bad day and you don't have to, that's what happens when people, it used to happen to me on a diet. You go off the diet. So then it's like, I had a piece of pizza. Well, now I'm going to eat the whole pizza, right? It's the same thing. You have a bad day. It's just, it's a bad day. It doesn't mean that you're back to square one again. It doesn't mean you have to start all over again, because that becomes so daunting that no one does it. You have to trick yourself at the beginning. You have to find ways to keep yourself excited about what it is that you want. And that's part of the work. And there is some work. Now, it's not hard work. You're not digging ditches. It's mental work, but it's absolutely necessary. The more you put yourself, the more you immerse yourself in the world you want to be in, the quicker you're going to get that to appear, the closer you're going to get to that happening. This is one time when obsession is good, when you obsess over it. My best advice for manifesting big, overwhelming, and wonderful things is to ramp up the fun. Find ways that it works for you. Movies, maybe music, something that can keep that frequency up and help you. If you simply do this, just this, things will start appearing in your life. It'll look like magic, and you'll see it very quickly. It sounds simple and it sounds cliche, but how excited do you get? I'll tell you what, I've danced around the room. I've sang songs, I've played, I have made pictures, I've watched videos, visualizations, affirmations. I act out on those displays of enthusiasm, because enthusiasm, confidence, passion, love, positive feelings that supercharge your manifestation. Imagine you walk up to somebody that you care about and you're telling them whatever it is that you want. You imagine you have it, and you imagine walking up to your mother, sister, brother, whatever, and this is fantastic. And they're excited, and you feel that back. You're whatever you can do to create that feeling. It doesn't matter in the beginning. You're not going to believe it at the beginning, but you will, because things will start to happen. Synchronicities will happen. Just decide, how much do you love the thing that you want? If you've got 5, 6, 7 things and there's just a little bit of love for each thing,
and it's spread out. You got to have that one big goal at a time that you can put everything into. The universe rewards love, and the universe rewards enthusiasm, and the universe rewards creation. It doesn't reward fear. It doesn't reward hopelessness. Everybody is meant to succeed. And that doesn't just mean financially. Life is not supposed to be a struggle. We're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to learn and help other people. Ask yourself, why would something amazing come into your life and hang out with you if you don't even care enough to be excited about it? Imagine to the ladies out there, there's a guy who asks you out on a date, but he doesn't want to drive over and pick you up because it's kind of out of the way. Do you still want that date? Probably not. Most girls will cancel a date over something like that. The universe acknowledges excitement in you too. So you have to fire it up. You have to get excited. When you start to stand in the realization of getting what you want, of having what you want, you're going to be happy, right? You're going to be thrilled, right? That's what you've got to create. You've got to be that now. Be that now. Neville Goddard, act as if. Imagination is the most powerful tool that we have. It's what separates us. Animals don't have that. They live, to eat, for shelter. They don't have a creative imagination like we do. Somebody decided we were going to go to the moon, and man made that happen because of that creative mind and that collective consciousness. You've got that consciousness of everyone that's come before you, all the ideas, the thoughts, the feelings, the wants, the desires, all of that, the knowledge, you can tap into that. When you don't get what you want, you may think, oh, the universe is against me, God is against me, whatever. Sometimes it's just a guidance system to point you back in the correct way. Sometimes the thing that you want is the worst thing for you. So in closing, I'm going to say this. Love yourself, love what it is that you want, love the world, love the people in it, love each other. This idea that we're separate, me versus you get it, I can't have it, black, white, gay, straight, man, woman, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all smokescreen. It's a man-created smokescreen. Love is the highest frequency. Love is the highest vibration you can have. It's the vibration you infuse love into. It's the highest, most powerful electric wave that you'll see in your life, because love is the power. Love is the force. Love is your desire being born into the world. That's what it is. Love is taking the thing that you desire, and by adding passion, you're bringing it, you're creating it, you're manifesting it into the real world, just like a child. When we're kids, we play all the time. It's all about, I'm a fireman, I'm a prince, I'm this, I'm that. That gets beaten out of us. What you think about most is what happens. What you radiate outward in your thoughts, your feelings, your mental pictures, your affirmations, that is what you attract into your life. So if it's, I hate my life, I suck at this, I'm too fat, I'm too this, you got to stop that, because it is literally destroying your life and it's keeping you from happiness. And that's a sad thing. If you haven't joined our Facebook community, you should. It's an amazing group. We are banded together, like-minded people. We are transforming our lives and the lives of the people we care about by taking on our personal development. You can unleash these powerful forces. They are inside your mind. They've been there. You've got the most powerful supercomputer ever invented. You're born with it. It never needs new software. It's always constantly updating itself, but you never get a manual that tells you how to do it, how to work it. I spent 30 years touring the world and teaching people about the immense power of the human mind. I've worked with the most successful people in the world, and they know about mind power. They know how to harness and direct their mind power to make things happen in their life. But I realized a long time ago, it's not these people that need this information because they already have it. I worked all over the world teaching CEOs how to use their mind power, multimillionaires and sometimes billionaires. And that's why I started doing the mind power for kids, because I thought it's the wrong group of people. These people, this 1-2%, they know everything already. They've already got everything. What if we could teach this to the masses? That would change everything. And so that's what I do now is I work and I try to teach every day regular people how to take control of their life by using the secret power of your mind. And it's there. You've been born with it. You might as well use it. And you can use it to transform your life. Guaranteed. Now, if you'd like some more information on my programs, including Mind Power for Kids, including my new program, it's called 10 Minutes to Transformation. Looks like this is Mind Power for Kids here. 10 Minutes of Transformation is something new that we're doing. It's 10 minutes a day for a year. It's a full course, a digital course with me. And by the end of that year, you will be a different person. It's a money back guarantee plus $1,000. That's how sure I am about it. Nobody's ever failed. Everybody I've ever taught who implements succeeds. That's unbelievable. It's fantastic. And it's absolutely true. That's why I can make that offer. I offer money back plus I'll pay you $1,000 of my money if it doesn't work for you, because I know it will work for you. It works for everybody who implements. So if you're serious about making changes and positive, lasting change, go to my website. It is brentwebb.com. brentwebb.com. Also, the hotline number, 1-800-761-5021. And if you have any questions or comments, you can drop me a direct message there in the group. But go to brentwebb.com. Take a look for yourself. There's all sorts of things there. There's something for everyone. And that's all I got for you today. If you're watching this later and you have a question or a comment, something I talked about or something I should talk about, just drop it up there and I'll take a look. All right, so all I got for you today. Go out and enjoy your weekend. Remember, you are in control. You and only you. Nobody can make you feel any way about yourself until you grant them that. So start being the policeman of your mind. Start being the guard at the gate and be very discerning what you allow in there. You would not allow someone to come with garbage bags and dump all their garbage in your mind. So why do you let people do that with their negative bullshit? You have the power, you and you alone. So that's all I got. Go out, enjoy yourself. I'll see you soon. Remember, don't worry, be happy, feel good. See you soon.
There's something happening behind the scenes that will soon transform the world in such a radical way that most people will be shocked. Right now, the world seems like a hopeless place. We've been conditioned for so long to believe that we're limited and helpless. We've been told that peace is impossible, that poverty is unfixable, that disease is natural, that human suffering is inevitable. We've been lied to. We've been brainwashed to think that the only way to effect change is to fight the status quo, to take to the streets and protest, to rise up in anger. But that's a dead end that has never brought any lasting solution. Instead, something radically different has begun taking place and is gaining momentum. Certain individuals and groups of people have started remembering. They're remembering who they really are behind the illusion of physicality. They're remembering their divine nature. They're remembering that they're the superheroes and the saviors that they've been waiting for. And even though their numbers are relatively small, with their regained memories comes a power unlike anything the world has ever seen before. A power that will soon heal the entire world and set it free. This power is the power of consciousness.
of divine light and love. And one person wielding this power can shine a light so bright that it literally transforms 5,000 people who are stuck in negativity and darkness. And far from being an abstract notion, this is being proven and measured. A scientifically controlled study led by German researchers at the University of Kassel has shown that while the average person's chest area emits only 20 photons of light per second, someone who is meditating on their heart and sending out love and light to others radiates a stunning 100,000 photons per second. That's 5,000 times more than the average person. And numerous studies have shown that when these photons are imbued with a loving and healing intention, their frequency and vibration rises to the point that they can literally change matter. They can heal disease and transform negative events. And when groups of meditators who emit light and love assemble, the effect is so exponential that the impact is truly staggering. Over the past 30 years, there have been 23 scientific studies on mass meditation, which have been carefully scrutinized by independent scholars and accepted for publication in leading peer-reviewed academic journals. In every case, the research has shown marked reductions in crime, terrorism, and war in their respective geographic areas and even globally. Stop and think about this mind-bending, reality-altering fact. It's showing us the way forward to real, lasting change, because the truth is that the underlying substratum of our entire world is simply energy. Change the energy by imbuing it with light and love, and the world has to change. In fact, that's the only way it will ever change, because all other seeming solutions work only on the surface level of matter, instead of the energetic blueprint that actually creates reality. And to change it, the time has to be now. Now is the time to join the army of light warriors that have been building across the globe. Now is the time to rediscover your true divine power and put it to use to change the world. Now is the time to stop waiting for saviors and instead to embody the truth that will set you and everyone else free. This army is not one that wages wars. It's not one that judges, condemns, and attacks. It's an army of heart-centered beings who use their divine power for the highest good of all, who stand up for goodness and freedom, not through anger and protest, but through embodying higher consciousness and sending out the transformative energy of light and love. And the world thinks they're crazy. It calls them naive idealists. It laughs at them. Yet this is the same world that has been raging with violence and war, poverty, and disease. So tell me, who are the sane ones? This is the same world that used to burn people at the stake if they thought empowering beliefs. It's the same world that has killed and tortured countless souls. And despite the efforts of so many with good intentions, it remains an insane world filled with atrocities. Why is this so? Because good intentions aren't enough. The world cannot change by working merely on the physical front. The change needs to come from the underlying foundational and energetic front. That's why what's happening now is so different. Never before in our recorded history are so many souls waking up to the truth that we are beings of light who have the power to change our reality. And that's why this army will be the last army ever built. Because after our work is done, no other armies will be needed in the world. No wars will be raging. Peace will finally prevail. But this energetic battle is far from over. We can't simply spout empowering words and go on living as we used to. We need to do something. We need to send out the light every day to those we like and especially to those that we don't. We need to visualize the earth of our dreams every day. We need to sit in silence and meditate on the feelings of love and peace in our inner world every day. Even if only 5 or 10 minutes can be spared, we need to do it every day. Start with just 10 days to build a habit, and you can go from there for the rest of your life. Remember, your light can erase the negativity of 5,000 people who are stuck in lower consciousness. That's your power. No one can do this for us. It must be us. It must be you. And when you radiate this energy of higher consciousness, not only will our outer world start reflecting it, but your personal inner world will be enriched beyond measure. You will finally have the peace, the fulfillment, the abundance, and the joy that you've been seeking. In fact, this inner transformation is what causes the outer one. And so I call you now to join this army of light. I call you to let go of the limiting beliefs and conditioning that tells you you can't make a difference, or that you have to fight for change in physical ways out there in the world. And I call you to take command of our collective destiny by committing to do this sacred work each and every day. Make time to meditate. Make time to visualize loving light pouring from your heart to the world. Make time to love and forgive and uplift every day. Your efforts are not in vain. Science has proven the stunning effects. Don't listen to your brothers and sisters who are still spiritually asleep when they tell you what you're doing is pointless. They need you to live your truth now more than ever. Together, we can do this. Together, we will transform the planet. Together, we will create heaven on earth.